Hi everyone, welcome to SportsKhabri with me, are Adi and Rishi. Guys, it's thank you very much, Gareth Southgate. Goodbye, Gareth Southgate. And I don't know if England fans will be happy or sad, but it's big news. Gareth Southgate has, of course, reports everywhere saying that he has sort of departed parted ways with the England national men's team. So it's interesting news because a lot of people were calling for his departure. How do you think England fans would have taken to it, Rishi, like with Southgate going?
I mean, today at least this recent tournament, it was like the fans were not happy with their performances, but they weren't making a lot of noise as well because the team was progressing. Is like, and then when the finals, the things went down how it did, the reactions of almost all the fans were like a culmination of the entire tournament, like how they felt throughout the tournament, and pretty much how they felt throughout the entire tenure of Southgate. We can pretty much safely say that. It's always been conservative, not taking risks, always like often looking clueless, and the big players having to step up and pull rabbits out of the hats often. So it's going to be a mixed feelings for sure, because when you look at it, like except for that Bobby Charlton World Cup winning team, this has pretty much been England's most successful period. Like right,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
entirety of Southgate's tenure, like a World Cup semi-final, two Euro finals, a World Cup quarter-final. So I mean, you can pretty much sit and speculate that okay, could he have done better? Like, of course, we know that there was a potential for things to improve. There was potential for this group of players to achieve something more, but it still remains the fact that he has taken the team as far as anyone has, in modern day football, at least this England team. Like, I don't think I mean, I don't think you can say that, okay, Southgate was an utter failure, because, yeah, he took the team further than anybody else. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating. Adi, what were your first thoughts, dude, like on this? Did you see it coming? Because they had offered him reportedly a new deal, and it looks like it was his decision to not take it.
See, bro, at the end of the day, from my opinion, it's just good riddance because, looking at the talent England has had, utter embarrassing of a coaching role. He's been taken over the past 4 or 5 years. I mean, as a coach, maybe he's been, as I've said always, maybe as a manager in terms of leadership, in terms of getting a group together, in terms of getting a core together, it's been great. He's done a decent job. But as I said before, I think any manager could have done that easily with the amount of talent that he's had over the past years, right from Sterling, Rashford, a lot of players, Sancho, etc., to what he has right now. He's had a lot of talent. I don't think people can give him credit for bringing up this talent, because at the end of the day, he spoiled the talent, not brought the best out of them. Because these talents were, you know, prepared by the club, raised by maybe the youth levels also. This guy got a bunch of talented players and underperformed heavily, going and parking the bus against top teams like Denmark, and this year with Euros, always played conservative football, always played very boring, bland football with the talent he has. So I don't think I would ever say in terms of finals, semi-finals. You guys, if you look at the history in terms of stats, you can see two semi-finals. Once in the World Cup, one semi-final in the World Cup, one quarter-final in the World Cup, two finals in the Euros, and people be like, "Oh, that was successful." But to what he's done, achieved with the squad, it's the bare minimum he did it. Like, I don't think throughout his tenure ever really uh, helped any player grow, helped any player become better. Because you look at the Spain squad before before what? Just take the example of Spain before coming into this tournament. We wouldn't have seen players like Lenormand and Fabian Ruiz to the extent of what we saw him. And before this tournament, if you said, "Oh, Fabian Ruiz could be a top 2 3 midfielder," in the tournament itself, no one would have even agreed to
Yeah,
it. But
yeah.
today, in my opinion, he was the best midfielder overall in the tournament, and that was because of the manager and how he grew the player, showcased his talent in the world stage. And Southgate did the opposite throughout the year. He's since uh, you know throwing down players like Calvin Phillips, throwing down players like Raheem Sterling, Rashford, Sancho. He's just thrown them under the bus. He never gave them that belief, etc. when other players like Grealish was always given a go, even though he had very poor output, poor performances for England, poor performances for other teams. Throughout his tenure, I think he's not been consistent, and I still think whatever he's done for England, people can come and say, okay, that's great. Before Southgate, we were miserable. Before Southgate, we never were serious tournament favorites, not even considered top team. But at the end of the day, Southgate was lucky he got a group of talent, and people should see that he actually spoiled that talent over getting the best out of them. Even going to semi-finals and finals is, people will say, is a big thing. I mean, imagine losing to Croatia in a semi-final when you can say they were the favorites to win it, and then you see France trashing Croatia 4-1 in the finals in the 2018 World Cup itself. And that time you can't sit and say England have been the underdogs. He got a very great group of talent, coached by the best managers like Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, etc. And I always believe that if there was any other manager in that caliber with this generation talent of England players, I think they would have won a trophy by now. So I don't think it's closely even to a success, this guy.
Yeah, fair enough. I agree. I don't think Gareth Southgate has done anybody any favors because, dude, just the talent that he had, like, bro, this team with the players, at least in this tournament, this Euros, with the amount of players who've been coming off of great club seasons, Bukayo Saka, Phil Foden, Cole Palmer, Jude Bellingham, all of them incredible club seasons, Harry Kane even. But still, dude, like not even like a bit of it translated into the Euros, apart from say like Saka who was decent and even Palmer to an extent who made impact like off the bench. But I don't know what else to say about Southgate, dude. Like he's not done himself any favors. I think with the couple of players he had, he took like certain decisions. One being playing Kieran Trippier, it kind of backfired this tournament. So eventually, when you look at the tactical decisions, and again, potentially playing Harry Kane with an injury is what people are saying. And even if he was injured, you chose to play him for so long, and it does come down to him. I think a large part of the blame. So, Rishi, are you surprised that he's left? Like he took the decision to leave?
I mean, not really, because
Dude,
what
he
I was
also
most
said. Dude, he
what
also said like during the tournament that he was getting a lot of stick from fans, and so given the pressure and all of that, do you think that's what I'm asking? Do you think he's surprised given what has happened at the Euros as well?
To be fair, no, dude. When you're a manager of a national team with such a huge fan following and such a brilliant group of players, you are gonna get a lot of scrutiny. You're gonna get a lot of media attention, pressure. That's a given with the job. It's not like he didn't know what he was going into. It's like been there for decades. Like the minute you are a top two, three countries manager, let alone be English like manager, the kind of press, the kind of toxicity the British press can bring about, the kind of controversies that can follow, it's not anything that he didn't know about. So it's surprising that he said he has been getting a lot of stick right now, because I'm sure he would have been getting stick throughout his England managerial career. That's not something new. And what was more surprising for me was that the English FA came out and outright backed him, saying that like, we're going to give you time till World Cup regardless of the result. I feel that was a bit too casual and too just letting him off the hook, because like even this tournament you could see it was not any different, and if anything this tournament was just a statement of how his career has been, his managerial career has been for England. Like it was stale, it was mundane football, it basically looked like 11 individuals who had never played football before just showing up
Yeah,
on the day,
exactly. Yeah,
trying to do something. Like, and the fact is
that's
that they've been like this, at least the core group of players have been playing for a long time. Let alone these guys are all professional players who play on the top, like at the top level of club sport. So the fact that they all ended up looking clueless on the pitch is completely down to him. And for the FA to just come outright and be like, yeah, we're backing him till the next World Cup, meaning they're willing to jeopardize this golden generation for one more cup where another new manager could come in and take this side hopefully to a better place. That I felt was very naive from them. So it was surprising to me that they came and backed him out, or like outright, but it didn't is not pretty much of a surprise that he chose to leave the role, because I feel but like by this point he should have also realized that okay, he's done to his best possible capacity. He has, led this team, and if anything, it can only go downhill from here.
Yeah, Adi, dude, where did you think he's left England since taking over?
Bro, I mean, to be fair, firstly, him leaving England, this role, I think having such great talent in itself is such a big cop out as a manager. I think him, being lucky to get into two continuous Euro finals, maybe at least the previous Euros, they were pretty good. But again, I feel that Euros, all the other teams were horrible. And coming to this Euros, very lucky guy, he took them into the final. So I think, at least from the fans' point of view, I think he's going on, oh yeah, I've taken this team to two finals consecutively in the Euros, and another semi-finals and quarterfinals for World Cup. We've been so successful, but I still don't think it's been close to success, because as Rishi said, I've said, there has been no development of any player under him. You look at, for example, you look at the players right now under his corp, the talent he has, and there are only two players who had double figure goals under him as a manager with the current squad of players, right? That is Saka and Kane. The rest of them, even though you can say they've been playing for I mean, at least in terms of your stars like Bellingham, Foden. I mean, at least Bellingham has played for a short time, maybe Palmer for a short time. But that's my point. Even you take a, him, who are the players have success? You can say, have found a new life under Southgate, has performed under Southgate. None of them. I think the only player I would give a bit of credit maybe is Calvin Phillips, because he was a very good consistent player under that Southgate side in the early days. I mean, early days
I
in terms
feel
of like
to an extent that you can see
1920.
Harry
Harry
Maguire
Maguire.
also,
Yeah.
yeah, played probably his best
I
football.
still don't believe that. I think Harry Maguire, firstly, Maguire is better suited for international because it's way more slower. And I
Mm.
still, whatever performance I've seen of Maguire under Southgate or England, it's the same performance how he was in Leicester, how he was in United, in terms of he used to make a lot of mistakes, but he also would clear the mistakes off. And at times you could say Maguire was the guy who was making huge clearances, etc., etc. But he was the guy who was also getting the team into trouble. And I still think overall Maguire over the years wasn't consistently good enough for England also to be like, okay, this guy was a star. I still don't think so. But you can say Maguire's performances for England were better than the way it was for United, because obviously it's two different levels, right? When Maguire's consistently playing Premier League week in week out compared to playing a fixture in the international, is just a different level. But again, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, you see any players, successful international managers, they've helped the players showcase their talent in the biggest stages. And this guy, as I said from beginning, this guy literally did the opposite. He created systems. He created, a disastrous system for the players, and just ensured and just preyed upon the players. Getting him out of the ditch he dug for them. It's like, I seriously still don't think, looking at this Euros, the amount of talent they had, me watching every game, as I said, I don't even support England. The only reason I actually started supporting England this Euros was because of the fact that how difficult he's making every player's job. And even, for example, in the finals, he's making Bellingham play left wing for no reason. Like, if you're a manager and if you don't have the simple brains to get the best out of these players, you can't just put each player in any random position and ask them to get the best of themselves. And that's what he's been doing the entire tournament, and that's what infuriated me. Like, having such a good crop of talent, this I rather lose like Germany and get out of the tournament early than come to the finals and embarrass myself the way they played in the finals, right? So that's how I would look at it. Like, as a tenure, again, I don't think any positives were there. I don't think he's helped any players or helped any youth players come up. I think the only thing you can say, over the past 2 years, he's been giving a lot of youth talent. I think him believing in, at least in the Euros, last Euros, where he gave Saka a lot of games. When it was firstly, I remember the media was always like, Foden's going to start right wing. Foden's the next whatever. He got a blonde hairstyle, etc. They were like, this guy's going to
Yes, fine.
save us. He's going to save us, win us the Euros. Within the first game, he had a stinker and they kicked him out, and he got in Saka. And I think that was the only ballsy move he's ever done this entire career. I mean, apart from that, again, overall, I don't think he's had such a great impact for England or English football to say, this guy is going to leave a huge mark into the football and change the philosophy to, continue forward.
Rishi, dude, what are you gonna most fondly remember Ford? I mean, I'm saying Ford because of Adi. But yeah, what do you most fondly remember Southgate for? Is there any fond memories that England fans will probably have and say, oh, at least we got that. But that's a sad part, dude. Actually, like now that I think of it, there is probably more frustration that they got to two finals, not playing the best football, and have not crossed the line. So it's like the
Bro,
worst of all
yeah.
worlds.
I mean, I'm sorry to
Exactly.
say, but just to sorry, bro. Like, bro, this guy's you see his entire tenure since his beginning, he got relegated as a club manager. He couldn't get the Euros. I mean, he managed under 16, England. There he was very mediocre. Couldn't take England through the group stages itself. He got lucky with the managerial appointment in terms of English because Sam has had some big issues and he came as a temporary manager. And since then, what he's done, it's out of all luck. And from I don't know how the FAs even had that thought process of let's keep him for the next 8 years and give him time. I seriously don't know what was that thought process for him to come into this job, but yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
just
Rishi.
it's highly unfortunate, like from the English FA perspective, because like throughout his tenure, I was always had this comparison between him and Argentina manager Scaloni, because if anything, Scaloni had much less work experience as a manager. He came in as a data analyst for the Sampaoli team, and then the minute Sampaoli got fired, they gave him the job because the Argentine FA couldn't afford any big salary, and they had to get in someone for the cheap, and they decided, okay, let's give it to Scaloni. But I've always, had this thought of comparing them as to like how both the different managerial tangents have gone. The first thing I've observed is how Scaloni has learned on the job. Like, of course, that is not something you need to do at an international stage, but of course, he was thrust into the, storm's end, and he learned his lessons. He adapted. I think the best thing he did was he didn't try to make it overcomplicated. He knew the group of players he had, and he decided, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the best out of them. What can I get best from this group of players that I have? Okay, I'm going to make Messi the center, and I'm going to make it convenient for him to get in scoring positions. I'm going to keep the defense tight. That is it. Even today, that is it. And that is the biggest testament I can give to him, and the biggest disappointment from a Southgate perspective, that the football that he plays today is not, I don't see any difference from the team that, when he initially took the job. And like, dude, even throughout the course, that is the biggest question mark for me. Like, what was he trying to do? And how is it that he lasted this long? Because you could see that he was out of his depth. You could see that it's not like you could see any improvements. You could see from a football perspective, not from results perspective, because if results are not just how you play football, there's a lot of other factors. But the fact that he wasn't able to improve on any single aspect, that is the biggest concern for me. And from that perspective itself, I can't even think of any huge moment as such. Maybe you can say that the Euro 2021 final where Shaw scored within minutes, but that is also an individual brilliance. I can't really pin that on Southgate. That itself says a lot about
Actually,
that.
that's so true. That's actually so true. Now that even I think about it, like all of England's great moments, I feel that have all come from like individual brilliance. Even like that Shaw moment, which is pretty much a
Trippier
really
free kick in World Cup, and then
crazy
Shaw
half
goal,
volley.
Saka
Yeah, and then
equalizer, Bellingham. It's
yeah,
all it's
that's
all
true. Bellingham, it's all yeah. It's not nothing is I feel like it's gone down to brilliant coaching, just the brilliance of the players.
Even
But
even against France, the equalizer they got was a penalty, which was
oh right,
basically
exactly.
again
yeah,
Saka did something and then got fouled
yeah,
in the box.
exactly.
It was all that. It's never been, as I said, you look at the same thing to Euros, just the final which they played for yesterday. I think the goal that Spain scored came out of pure coaching and pure manager
Hundred
believing in
percent.
players, giving him the freedom to go into the box. That's what I said, right? Four people overloaded the box and England got just suffocated. And I think that was all down to like manage, not even, I can't say it's a design play, but it's always a manager giving that freedom. Go do this, it's fine.
Yeah.
If he consider goal, it's okay. Let's try to score more. And that guy never had it entire career.
It's just a philosophy thing. I don't think you can sit and say, "Oh, exactly, do this, this, this." But in international football, you can at least instill a sort of culture saying that okay, we'll do this. Like let's be attacking, let's be aggressive, things like that. But yeah, guys, that's basically that. I don't think at least this panel at least is very unanimously I think in favor of Southgate leaving it. Hopefully England get somebody else and get going
Okay, but
and
I want to
challenge
ask
for
this
the
question.
next World
Where
Cup.
do you guys
Yeah.
think he is like? Where do you would you call him the most successful England manager? Okay, since the World Cup winning team, or where does he stand? Because it's
Dude,
a tricky, because his predecessors have also not done that great. You can say that okay, the squad was a lot more divided, but at the end of the day, where do you think he stands? Because for me,
for me,
like
No,
yeah.
my
but
perspective.
Rishi, you're talking about the teams where England played before. They were playing prime Germany, prime Brazil, prime Italy, etc. This guy's scraping against teams like Slovenia, who we don't even know the players. Apart from two, three players, we don't even know who they are.
That's true. See,
So
but
you can't
see,
even compare that era of
when
like
Beckham
players
scored
and
that
teams.
free kick, that was also against. They had to score an equalizer against Greece to qualify for Euros, if I'm not wrong. So there were moments, even in the previous England teams, they were also facing small-ish teams and the underdogs, and they were struggling against them. Of course, they were playing much bigger teams with more cohesion, but there were also times where they were facing these underdogs and they were struggling against them. That's why, like, for me, of course, he's like, overall when you look at it, he has been pretty much a disappointment, because I feel this squad has a lot more they could have achieved, but that doesn't remove the fact that you have to give it to him that he has been more or less the most successful England coach, at least since the World Cup winning team. That is again a long time ago. I can't think of any other manager who was, at the end of the day, has ended up pulling out results like him. So where do you guys see that?
That for me, it's that thing, as we said, it's he didn't pull out the results. I still believe that it's the players who pulled him out of whatever he dug the hole. And I'll be consistent forever because again, you can't sit and say this guy Southgate is the one who took this England team to the finals. Literally zero effort he put in as a manager to change something to give belief to the team. Nothing. Literally no tactical changes, no form of philosophy, no form of attacking. Even defensively, there's no philosophy. I'm not saying sit and play attacking football. You play defensive football, but you look at Italy the way they used to defend under Mancini. It was a different form of defense, and he didn't have both philosophy. As a defensive team, also there was no philosophy. As an attacking team, also there was no philosophy. And again, in terms of, I'm never going to sit and say this guy dragged this team to the Euros, this team to the Euros finals twice. I think the players dragged this guy towards the finals, and if they won a trophy, it was the players who won the trophy and not the manager. So I still don't think, I wouldn't sit and say this guy has been. You can say statistically, yeah, this guy is a top manager for England, is one of the greatest, etc. Because of the fact that at the end of the day, you look at his career CV, you'll be like, oh, two Euro finals, one semi final, one quarter final. But again, zero trophies. They failed to even win that UEFA Nations League, which was an easier thing. They got relegated to the second tier. They basically, remember, they got relegated to the second tier. They failed to beat teams like Iceland in the end of his tenure. I seriously could never think this was a success story, or for the matter of fact, at least a successful manager, at least in my point of view.
Rahul?
For me, it's pretty simple, bro. Like I can't compare him to. I think for me, the most English football, at least internationally, I watched is under Southgate. Saw a bit of
See,
Roy
but of
Hodgson, but
course, you will
that's
remember,
it.
you would have read about someone like the Sven-Goran Eriksson, Roy
No, but
Hodgson, like.
I've never seen that. Like, there's no way for me to compare to a Sven Goran Eriksson or a Fabio Capello. Like, there's no way. Like, I can't do it. So I think for me, I'm just going to objectively say Southgate, not a great appointment, wasn't great, not very successful. So, yeah, I think that wraps it up. Yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts on Gareth Southgate leaving England as manager, of course. And yeah, please like and share the videos. Follow SportsKhabri, and we'll be back soon.